after the third one, I was like, okay, this isn't just things happening. There is something going on here. Age is a number, but,
love it.
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
When you're over 40 and trying to conceive, you're often told, just try IVF, or accept that it might not happen at all. But what happens when you experience multiple miscarriages and no one is willing to investigate why? That was her story. 3 miscarriages, no answers, and doctors refusing to dig deeper simply because of her age. Has that happened to you? That is what happened to her until she decided to take her fertility into her own hands and join my personalized fertility program. If you're new here, welcome to Fertility TV. I'm Dr. Mark Sklar, also known as the fertility expert. And I'm here to help you understand your fertility and take the next steps towards starting your family. For over 22 years, I've been a natural fertility expert, and I've helped so many women just like you, and I'm excited to share what I've learned. Before we dive into this story, her story, I want to let you know that while we're listening to her story, throughout this video, I'm going to jump in at different moments and add context and explain what was really going on behind the scenes, hormonally, emotionally, and medically. This way, you'll not only hear her personal journey, but you'll also understand how we helped her get pregnant, what we did, why we did it, and how it worked. Because when you understand the strategy behind her transformation, and that's exactly what it was a transformation, you'll begin to see what's possible for you. And you'll get a clear picture of what working with a skilled, holistic, and integrated fertility coach can truly do for your journey. Gillian is a real member of my Hope Fertility Coaching Program, and she's going to share her story right now with all of you.
So our fertility journey started when I was 36. I don't even think we were married at the time. We just kind of decided it was the time to have kids. So I had my hormonal IUD taken out. Took a couple months for my hormones to regulate enough to have cycles. And I think within 2 cycles, we were pregnant, and that was super exciting. So that pregnancy made it until 10 weeks, and then we miscarried.
So I'm going to jump in right here. It's very common when you come off of an IUD for it to take a while for your cycles to regulate, especially if you've been on it for quite some time. She's actually fortunate that it only took a couple of cycles to regulate and get back on track. It can take longer, so I want you all to understand that. She's also very fortunate that within a couple months of trying that she was pregnant, even though you've already heard this was her first miscarriage. Unfortunately, that's not uncommon in the early stages of trying. If you've been on birth control and so forth, your hormones are just not where they need to be. And so that can take a little bit of time as well. But let's continue to hear her story.
It didn't leave on its own, so I had to have surgery to have it removed.
That's hard.
A couple months after that, we were pregnant again, and that was awesome. But that was an implantation failure, so tested positive for about 3 days, and then that was done. And that was devastating because everybody says, oh, you've got a really high chance of getting pregnant after a miscarriage, And then I think it was 3 months after that, we got another positive, but that was an embryonic pregnancy. So a pregnancy where no baby forms. Mm-hmm. And after the second pregnancy, I've been asking my doctor, hey, can we do some further testing? Because, the first one, you're just like, oh, mistakes happen. It's a roll of the dice. The second one, it's like, okay, that's 2 in a row now. And they were like, oh, that, things happen. And after the third one, I was like, okay, this isn't just things happening. There is something going on here. Can we investigate this finally?
Yeah, so that's important to recognize. For those of you who go to your OB, okay, if you have 1 loss, they're likely not to investigate. The old guidelines said that if you had 3 losses consecutively, that now you can start to dig deeper. Now they were allowed to dig deeper. The new regulations or guidelines say after 2, but most OBs still follow the 3 rule. So just understand that. Okay. And I'm proud of her for saying to herself, but now something's got to be going on. What is it? And we need to find answers. And that's what all of you should be asking if you've had multiple losses.
They tested very basic hormones. I think progesterone, estrogen, thyroid stimulating hormone. I think that was it.
Not a lot.
And they were just like, yeah, things look normal for your age. It's fine. I was like, no, things aren't fine. I just needed to find somebody that would listen to my concerns because I knew deep in my bones it wasn't just fine. So I live in Canada, and so the doctors kind of have to operate within a framework in order for the government to reimburse for services. So I kind of get that. I work in healthcare myself, but I just really needed somebody in my corner. So I started looking outside of the system at naturopaths, acupuncturists, and somebody that was really experienced with fertility. And after some web searches, Dr. Sklar's name kept coming up very routinely. So I figured I would take the plunge and try it out.
So I need to comment here because I really want to credit her for pushing for more for herself. It's all too often we just listen to the doctor in the white coat who says there's nothing more, everything looks fine. As she just said, in Canada, and not just in Canada, but in the US and other areas, they're dictated by what insurance will reimburse. And so it's not about you and your health. It's about insurance and reimbursement. And so we need someone to listen to us, who's in our corner, who's going to advocate for us and support us, just like she said, right? Just like Gillian said. And so that's where you need someone to support you properly. For you, not with other influence, not because insurance is or isn't reimbursing. That is super important. For any health issues, my world is fertility, so I'm going to say especially for fertility.
So I think with the traditional medical system, especially in Canada, you're reimbursed for a certain amount of time spent with a patient. So they're just trying to address your issue and get you out the door very quickly.
Yeah.
So, they would kind of glom onto keywords and then their brain would kick in and they'd go someplace, but they wouldn't listen to the full story, which I found to be frustrating because, again, I work in healthcare and I know to advocate for myself. But when somebody assumes what's going on before they have all the information, sometimes they're not receptive to listening to the rest of the story. So, yeah, it was refreshing. I had my first initial consult with Lonika, and that was incredible to have somebody actually sit down and listen to our concerns because they weren't operating within the time pressures of the system.
Yeah, so I'll comment briefly. Everyone in my program gets a personalized one-on-one call. And in her case, she had it with Lonika, which is my longtime associate. She's my second brain, as I like to say. And she's there to listen, to understand your story, to digest it all. And then her and I sit down afterwards, review all of that so that we have two brains, four eyes, four sets of ears on every case to understand your situation better and get you the best support possible, the most comprehensive support. And that was the first step for Gillian.
And Dr. Sklar wanted a rigorous amount of testing. Honestly, I don't even think I had all of it done. It was a huge panel. And not all of it was accessible to me, but I did as much as I could. And there are a few issues that we had to address. There was one of my thyroid hormones, not TSH, T3 maybe, that was elevated. And I know I talked to my doctor about it and they kind of poo-pooed it. But Dr. Sklar took my concerns seriously, and we kind of addressed that through supplement and dietary changes. I had known that I had two different MTHFR mutations going into this program. Didn't really have much of a context as to how that would impact fertility. So again, those things were kind of addressed through supplement and dietary protocol. Yeah, I didn't have an official diagnosis other than recurrent pregnancy loss, but I knew it wasn't mechanical pregnancy loss because these things never left my body the way that they were supposed to. So I always figured it was chromosomal abnormalities that were likely at play. So, and I really, really appreciated the supplement protocol that was put together because after consuming some other content around the internet that reproductive endocrinologists put out, a lot of it seemed evidence-based.
Well, I'm just going to comment briefly on what she was saying. Like, I do have a substantial lab request that I ask members to get. In most cases, it's not an issue. There are some countries like Canada, it can be a little bit challenging, but I'm also, reasonable in my approach. And, she wasn't able to get everything. And so we take what we can get, right? And then we take that and create a customized plan. And she's telling you, we found these issues. She had a T3 was too low, her MTHFR, she had double mutation. These are things that need to be addressed and that weren't. They were just being ignored by her OB or primary, which doesn't surprise me, by the way, because it's just not the world that they live in. And so we were able to to start to support those things with her, right? I say with her because I can create the plan, but she's the one who has to do it. So she was able to follow through. And part of that is because when she was feeling really good.
But yeah, a lot of it seemed evidence-based. And then there were things that I got to try that I never thought of trying before. And honestly, I think some of those things were the most transformative for me. So tapping into more of the mind-body connection. Through this whole process, I started engaging in emotional freedom techniques in tapping. And I found that to be massively transformative for my journey. Trying to unplug my type A healthcare brain and wanting the science and the evidence and things I can feel and touch, and just to believe in the pure healing power that my body innately has, and to trust.
Yeah, this is such a key piece. You know, for us, we need to be able to let go a little bit. Doesn't mean give up, it means let go. And for those of you who are type A, like Gillian, we try to hold on real tight to things because we know that when we've done that, we've been able to be successful. In this case, just letting go a little bit, trying to trust, like she said, trust in the process, trust in her body. That letting go allows our mind to reset a little bit, and that's super, super important. It's also about being compassionate, having some self-compassion for ourselves, meaning like we're doing the best we can, right? It doesn't mean that when we say that we can go and have some Twinkies. It means we're doing all the things on our end, and now we just need to trust and be compassionate with our body and believe that it can happen.
And that was huge for my journey. Would I have been able to figure this out all on my own? Maybe. I think it would have taken me a lot longer to do it, though, than what I had. And as much as through this whole process, I've learned that, age is a number, but,
Love it.
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter as much as society seems to put a lot of pressure on us in believing that it does, but it does matter. And how long would have it taken me to do it on my own? I don't know, 4 years, 6 years? Who knows? I think the investment is well worth the savings in time, because by the time I figured it out on my own, I may have been able to have one kid, but that doesn't align with my family size goals.
Yeah, I think this is such a beautiful comment she makes. I was just at a conference and talking to some people, and they're like, the best decision, and it was a professional conference, so it wasn't, I wasn't coaching anybody, I was listening and learning. And the people had mentioned that like the best decisions they ever made was working with a coach for whatever it was that they needed. Whether that was a simple thing like, oh, I need to learn how to write emails properly, or I need to learn how to create a video, or I need to learn how to whatever. Right? In this case, it's fertility. That the fastest path to my end result, they all said, was having a coach to guide me along the way, to teach me how to do X, Y, and Z to get those results. So like just what she's saying, she could have done it on her own potentially if she would have investigated, learned, put all this time into it. And, but what is she giving up? Would she had to have quit her job so that she can do this full time and learn, make this her profession? Maybe. Was she giving up finances? Time, right? Years before it happened. Having a coach speeds up the time, makes the process much easier. They know how to guide you through that process. And this happens with everything in life. Fertility is absolutely no different.
I'm thankful that I was able to find this in time in order to, I've got one now. I'm hoping for two. We'll see what happens. But,
hope so.
But to make my family size goals at least possible. No, I was 38 when I enrolled, and it took a little over a year for that to happen. Getting all the testing done took a bit, but it seems a bit like a waiting game and you're so eager to get going, but healing takes time.
Yes, it does.
It takes time for your body to
patience.
Get to the place that it needs to be, both mentally and physically.
Time and patience.
And my body had been through a lot. So, but yeah, a little over a year, which I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not all that bad. Honestly, this service is almost like, now that I'm in the postpartum space, a lot of people will hire a birth doula and a postpartum doula. This is almost like a prepartum doula. Somebody offers so much support. The monthly calls are amazing. And just being in community with all these other people that know what you're going through is invaluable. Because I know I kept my cards pretty close to my chest. I didn't let everybody in because people are trying to be sweet and they're trying to empathize with you. But I find messages like everything happens for a reason. It just dismisses how you feel in the moment. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to be sweet and you don't want to crap on them. But at the same time, like, you just want people that understand.
Yeah, two key things here that she mentioned. And by the way, I just realized she's got her little one on her shoulder. I didn't realize that previously. She mentioned community, which is a big part of the Hope program, is the community that we've developed with all the members supporting one another, lifting each other up when things are difficult, celebrating wins, and just being there as a resource for everybody. And like she said, everyone knows what the other's going through because we're kind of all in this together. And then she mentioned monthly calls. It's actually weekly calls. We have our weekly support calls, which are amazing in terms of being able to get your questions answered and be able to get them answered in a timely manner. Yeah.
I mean, although the expertise of Dr. Sklar and Lonika is invaluable, I think the community is even more so. And just being there with all of these fiercely brave, amazing people that are all trying to achieve the same goal is a fantastic thing.
I just got the chills when she said that, because for me, building this community is so important and so valuable. And I've worked really hard to make sure that they're all there to support one another. So to have her say that, to me, feels really, really special. And I still have the chills, and I was just honored to work with her on her journey. Her story is a reminder that age doesn't define your fertility, and you deserve real answers. With the right support, the right testing, and a personalized plan, hope is not only possible, it's powerful. If you're ready to feel heard, be seen, and supported in a whole new way, we're here to walk that path with you. Book your free personalized fertility assessment today. Let's uncover what's been missed and begin a plan that's uniquely yours. And that's because your story isn't over. In fact, it might just be getting started right now. So until the next video, stay fertile.